Somebody who has been covering elections for all these years and who looks at the contemporary election scenario and also look at recent history, see one significant characteristic of this election is that for the first time since 2014, the BJP has failed to set the agenda for the election. Of course, it is tom-tomming the gains that the Yogi government has made in terms of law and order. It talks about COVID management. And of course, periodically, at a micro level, it has been systematically trying to create this Hindu-Muslim polarization, including using the hijab controversy in Karnataka for trying to do that. But the overall impression among political analysts and commentators and even practitioners, including those in the BJP, admit that that this time the election agenda is increasingly being set by Akhilesh Yadav and Samajwadi Party, especially because of the kind of grouping that he has been able to create of the smaller other backward castes. What do you think about it?
I have a feeling that the grouping, he has not succeeded totally. That's the impression I get. They tell me that micromanagement of the BJP is working because in the lower, in those castes whom Akhilesh and even Mayawati have not been able to attract. You see, the caste structure is a brilliant device. In this, it is a pyramid where everybody has someone below him. There is no one at the bottom of the caste structure. There is somebody below him. There's someone who has a sense of being on top. So it's an amazingly brilliant device. And there are gaps here. People believe that Akhilesh may not have been able to do this micromanagement which BJP with its vast cadres may. I don't know how much of that is going to affect the elections. The other thing is, you see, it's simple. The souffle rises only once. We have said it. The souffle of communalism, Hinduism, but then you say it happened in 2014, it happened in 2017, then it happened in 2019, then the souffle seems to be, it is defying all logic. Souffle is rising again and again.
Yeah.
How come? And there's a very simple answer as far as I am concerned. If you have completely managed the media, 90% of the media is yours, then even the most bigoted Muslim, if you tell him that idolatry is wonderful, he will begin to think twice. You see, all kind of proselytization is this management of the media. Now what is happening is something new. I believe that the credibility of that media has collapsed. And I see signs of it already. They are sensing the wind blowing the other way and they are changing just a little bit. So I hope your AIDEM comes well on time to defeat that trend.
Thank you, sir. We'll try to do that. In fact, the lack of credibility that you're talking about, or the kind of ever-decreasing credibility, one can sense it on the ground. People have started looking at media, and when you go and talk to them, average people, I mean, people who are participating in the farmers' petition, Godi media to nahi hai. So they're asking this question. So basically, this lack of credibility of the media is a very big factor. But then, even that, I mean,
it's a globally thing. Again, this is a global phenomenon. I won't go into that.
No. Please go into that. I mean, you can refer to that.
You see, ours is a very copycat media, very much so. When did we have multiple channels? In 1990-91, the Soviet Union collapsed. In 1990-91, P.V. Narasimha Rao invented Manmohan Singh. So your economic liberalization, I'm not saying one exactly, but it was necessary because your one wing has gone. So you lurched totally towards the other side and you joined the American camp. You haven't yet, you're now having difficulties getting rid of it. So that way. The media, which was actually tom-tomming victories, then came the post 9/11 and the post 9/11 wars. Now, post 9, remember a principle. In a war, the first casualty is the truth. A media of any nation, mine included, doesn't go and say that our army is doing very badly. You go and you tom-tom your forces. So they were involved in so many wars, doing the propaganda for all, whether Iraq, whether Syria, whether in Libya, that they began to lose credibility. They became propaganda elements. The Murdoch media became the propaganda element. The result was that during Libya, BBC and CNN were not being believed.
Yeah.
So they made up with, there was a quarrel on between Saudi Arabia and Qatar, but they ran and made a peace with them because they wanted the credibility of Al Jazeera television to help them out.
Right.
So you see the credibility, and it's going on.
Yeah.
Now we were copycats. We have imitated from them. We copy them. Our economic policies, economy of a type burgeoned. Consumer items had to be advertised. New shampoos and new various varieties of things. They had to be advertised. To contain that advertisement, to manage that advertisement, you needed channels, and channels were boosted by advertising. It's like you had hundreds of channels. And all of them were controlled by business. And if Ambani and Adani decide that this is my boy, this particular prime minister, or that particular prime minister, whoever they choose, then the media falls in line. So media was 100% with them. If you remember 2014 and 2019, 100.
Absolutely.
Now, and that helped them. Because even if I'm convinced that they are going to lose, after a while with this barrage, even you begin to wonder, maybe. But now that testing, now that has begun to snap. That little credibility has begun to snap. Now people are asking you, are you right that media this mistrust in the media has grown. That is going to be a very lasting tragedy. And it's a hope. And I tell you, I'm not saying because I'm speaking on your channel. AIDEM is the way forward.
We'll do our best, sir, on that score. But then you spoke about the dilemma of the Muslim and the manner in which, after how Congress let them down, how they moved to the backward caste parties and the Dalit parties, and how the BJP countered it with its pan-Hindu social engineering strategy. So the dilemma still exists. In the meantime, you have addressed this question in a different manner through an interesting play. I mean, one of the latest work is a play. I mean, you are known for your
play. Well, I wrote a play because
the title is "The Muslim Vanishes," and of course, it takes a historical panoramic view of the Muslim situation, and not just the Muslim situation. I think the situation that we find ourselves in all communities.
Actually, the play is a device, is a trick because the polemics of this debate, the Hindu-Muslim, there are various dimensions. There's a history, there's a historical grievance. What Modi says, 1200 years of Gholami, 1200 years of subjugation, that's one. That has to be negotiated. Secondly, partition and the aftermath, that has to be negotiated. Third, the Kashmir, terrorism, global terrorism, Islam, Muslim, ready-made, ready-made for you. And may I just deviate just a little bit to give you a background?
Yeah.
The war against terror is the zenith, the peak of Islamophobia, launched by Bush. 7th of March, 7th of October 2001, military action begins in Afghanistan. So the world is riveted on the biggest fireworks the world has ever seen, Afghanistan. On 7th of October, Keshubhai is removed. I'm not saying there's a conspiracy there,
Yeah.
but the coincidence is amazing. That he turns up, Modi turns up in Gujarat, in Ahmedabad, to take over as chief minister without being a member of the House. And he sees the world riveted. Global Islamophobia is the flavor of the day. So therefore, whatever he plans he may have had, and whatever the 2002 February, all of that done under the canopy of global, it seemed to be justified globally.
Okay.
You follow? Yeah. It had global justification. You see, the communalism. Meanwhile, the wheel has come full circle. The Americans have withdrawn from Afghanistan. You can't still be sucking the same lollipop. You follow? That lollipop has lost its flavor. The global support you had will not be there for you. You know? Israelis will have a problem with Iran, but even that will be resolved.
Right.
What will you do? And that is our dilemma at the moment. Will you continue to be hard on Pakistan, hard on China, no talk with anybody, and therefore hard on the Muslim factor in India? It is not tenable. I am saying it on your channel that come election results, win or lose, the regional and global situation has made this line untenable. It is just not possible. Imagine a tennis racket. The guts of it, from where you hit the ball, is where Afghanistan is in this. The stem is here. In the guts of it is Afghanistan, where the Americans were. We were very comforted by the fact that the Americans are there. In August, they left. We are somewhere near the stem. They left across 2 seas, 2 oceans. Are we going to be taken by AUKUS and Quad, when the more feasible Quad, which is the one, Iran, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, China, Pakistan, Russia, they're all on the rim of Afghanistan. It has changed everything. You simply cannot sustain the... Now, why the communal line cannot be sustained? Because you have to live in this neighborhood. The result is already Pakistan hockey team has been here, junior, low-key. They've been here, they've played game, they've gone away. There were back-channel conversations were taking place in Muscat, you know. Some of them were cancelled because of COVID, but they're happening. Apparently, there were 2 villages have been created in Arunachal Pradesh, you know. Normally, you would have had General Bakshi and his likes on television, and going for the jugular of the Chinese and for the Pakistanis. Have you seen those programs anywhere? Have you seen them?
No.
They've gone. They have gone. This is already a precursor. And even when Galwan happened, what did the Prime Minister say? Nobody has ever entered our territory. You follow? So therefore, things are happening. That which is not. And that which is not will happen, unravel slowly and slowly as this election results are over.
Well, I think that's a very interesting analysis and projection that you have made. But while you say...
One more thing, if with your permission. You see, I have a theory of you talked about my play,
Yeah.
the Muslim Vanishes. The Muslim vanishes is a trick. It's a play. It's a riveting play. Even though I'm saying it myself, you will not be able to put it down.
Yeah.
In fact, Adur
Yeah.
Gopalakrishnan has flattered me with the most wonderful comment on it, and so many others.
Yeah.
Ashish Nandi, these people. They're not casually. They're not casual in their praise. Ashish says this is a book that will last. Big thing.
No, I think the very proposition of the very concept of the Muslim vanishing, I think, that's a very shocking way to kind of...
Now, what is the essence of it? I have a theory of two interlocking triangles. I would like to conclude my argument on this. What are these two interlocking triangles? I wish I had them in my hand. One is the caste triangle. Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, and the 100 million down up to here, and the base widens. All right. Of this triangle, the Savarnas end somewhere here. All right. The other triangle is New Delhi, Srinagar, India, Pakistan, Hindu, Muslim. This is all one complex of issues. You have to keep this activated to manage this triangle. Communalism is a political project. Caste is a social habit of centuries.
Yeah.
If you think you can consolidate the Hindu by communalism, the social answers at the moment, you see the way, the brutality with which Dalits are being beaten. What is happening? If you remember the picture of that boy during the Gujarat pogrom, he is wearing bandanas and wielding a sword. He was a mochi.
Yeah.
Mochi is a cobbler.
Yeah.
They were interviewed him somewhere. In Kerala, in fact.
Yeah.
He was interviewed. Now, they are saying that they have incorporated us into the infantry of the Hindu forces, Hindutva. But we've got nothing.
Yeah.
Why? Even if we have come up, when we go to our village and our village sees us and our bridegroom comes because we have been elevated, our bridegrooms comes riding a horse, they say, oh, look at him. Now riding a घोड़े की टांग काट दो. So he is paying a price for this upward mobility.
Right.
Therefore, this consolidation is simply not working.
Okay.
You see?
Yeah.
So, therefore, this triangle, one India, Pakistan, you touch any one line of this triangle, the other two are affected. India, Pakistan is the key here. Once you start talking, you start toing and froing, even not normalizing, you've created a complication in Kashmir, then even so, some talk will be there. Once that happens, the communal temperature comes down, the Hindu consolidation is hit for a 6, and therefore the caste game proceeds and corrects itself at the usual Hindu rate of growth.
Okay.
That is
in many ways, I think it's a heartening thought. But even as you say this, you say that this anti-Muslim project is not tenable, and that the international factors at the level of international politics will ultimately create a situation where this triangle stabilizes. But even when we say that, see, even when we say that, you see everyday instances like the hijab controversy and the manner in which a lone Muslim girl wearing a hijab was being kind of surrounded by hundreds of young boys wearing saffron and shouting Jai Sri Ram and all that, and the kind of communal climate that it is creating. This is happening across the country. So when you say it's not tenable, this flies in the face of that.
Well, I said that before. Do the hijab controversy in Karnataka. Switch off the TV sets. It's over. The thing is the vehicle. It's the media that is the message. It's the media that is actually primarily which needs to reform. and which, as I repeatedly say, some initiatives like yours will go a long, long way.
Thank you, Saeed Saab. We will continue our conversation on more topics later. Of course, you are going to be a regular feature with us. We are not going to let you go.
Thank you, God. Thank you so much.